So what's up, everybody? It's Nisi here from the Red Eye Media Group News in Progress, and I have a very special interview today. I'm actually going to be in a play. It's coming out on October 1st and 2nd in New York City, and I have some of the people in the play with me. First of all, they casted me, so shout out to them. And they're like fully involved in the whole entire process. So we got some questions together, and we just hope, guys listen in. And if you like what we've heard here, you check us out on Zoom. If you can't physically come to New York City, it's fine. We have it. We'll link it all in the post and everywhere else. We hope you can share it if you can't attend. Whatever you can do, you can donate to the companies and help everyone in however you can. If very least you like the interview, you share it with a friend. So I think we can get into it, right? Or we can go over some quick bios. So you guys know me, I'm Tahira. We'll start with Fran.
Hello, how are you, Tahira?
I'm good.
See you. And to be with Jeff and Dakota.
Yup. So we have Dakota.
Hey there, I'm Dakota Martin. I am directing this play. It's an Italian thing, no, it's a Black thing. Jeff and I work alongside each other for Chill Bucket Productions, and we've been producing and directing things throughout the pandemic together, and before it, and hopefully after it.
That's awesome, and we have Jeff.
Hi guys, I'm Jeff Rocco. Also hoping that things continue after the pandemic. We'll see. Yeah, and I'm excited to be working on this story and excited to get it in front of an audience and see what people think.
Yes, we all are. So like I said, we're all part of this project. We all are at the same level. I will be asking the questions on behalf of the Red Eye, but I will also be answering some of them that pertain to my character and such. So I want to start off with Fran. Why did you choose this story? And I'm also asking it to you guys at Chill Bucket. Why'd you pick this story?
Right. I didn't really identify myself in the beginning. My name is Francisco. My last name is spelled Sisco. And I'm the playwright. I wrote the story. And why I picked this story, or why I wrote this story, was as a result of me getting more familiar with matters that involve diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I challenged my own beliefs about that, including matters about gender, because I'm a transgender woman, and I've faced many of the issues that many trans or LGBT people face. And it made me more sensitive to those issues that people face because of race or religion differences or disability, ability, whatever. And so what happened was that I was involved in this group through the Episcopal Actors Guild. And I did a show there about a year ago. Anyway, through meetings with them and stuff, I felt that it could be better, perhaps better, understood or appreciated if it was in the form of a play rather than a series of seminars or speeches or whatever. And so then I had this idea popped up, and I pursued it, and then I expanded it a bit, and that's how it came about, was trying to do something that was positive, but yet through comedy. And from doing stand-up comedy, I'm really appreciative of the use of comedy and being more fully expressed. I used stand-up comedy starting about 10 years ago, to come out more about my own relationship with my family, all things about trans and stuff. Long answer, but that's how I was inspired to or came up with this story.
Yeah, no, that's 100% awesome. So it's actually it's like a passion thing. It started that way, and then it's actually coming to fruition. That's like a lot of people's dreams in life,
I am so thrilled that Jeff took this on, and so thrilled that it was cast by some very good actors, including yourself. You're playing the character Frankie's girlfriend, maybe wife to be. Couldn't pick a better person. They cast you so well.
Awesome. And from the Chill Bucket side, what do you guys, what was your we really want to do this one, put your energy and everything behind it?
So for us, we always like to approach things from a story perspective, and how that story can inform our audiences and inform communities about whatever the story is presenting, whether it's, an issue, or just reminiscing, or historical, or, whatever that is. We try to bring stories that we think are relevant and inclusive. And this story about a transgender woman with a younger African-American girlfriend, meeting that girlfriend's mom for the first time, really resonated with me. And after an hour of convincing Dakota, what I love about the story is that it's a normal story involving a transgender woman and her girlfriend. So many stories that we see about people in the LGBTQ community are about violence against them, or about, having to come out, or all, not negative in nature, but sort of with negative undertones. And I love that this is a story about members of the LGBTQ community, and it's just them living their lives in everyday situations. They're meeting each other's parents, they're meeting each other's families, and sort of all of the, pivots and crazy that comes with that. And that's really what I loved about the story. And then, Dakota, I also, my way of convincing Dakota was sort of going through her girlfriend and saying, hey, remember how nervous you were the first time you met Julie's family, and remember how nervous Julie was the first time she met your family. And that's the story, and that's what we love about it.
100%. You want to add anything else, Dakota?
He's a complete liar. I don't know what. I don't know. That is nothing of what happened at all. I don't know where he's.
That's funny.
No, I mean, honestly, I think what he means by more so convincing is that Jeff's completely correct. A lot of the things we do are, there's some kind of underlying educational, historical factor, and we're always usually picking older, more traditional music or theater, because we keep saying these things are still valid, these things still have a great message and add value, and are still spreading such a great message. And to do something like this that was so contemporary is really different for me. So just to read through the script and not judge it and say, hey, this is a good story and we want to put that out there, I think that was a big step for us too, and for me especially, to just kind of take it at face value.
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna move on. So this is the first time I'm like performing in theater. I come from the dance world, so I definitely have theater experience, but not like as a performer, or I jumped straight to like the film. All right, I lived in Hollywood, I was CBS and the producers, and you're doing all that stuff in a little room, and then they give you this, and you're like being shuttled to the trailer. I did that. This is very close. I feel better doing it. I feel like, when you do something from childhood, it feels homey to you. Just feels homey to me. But also, I wanted to ask you guys, obviously Broadway shut down completely. Those of you guys who don't live in New York, I grew up here, so it was like, even though I wasn't on Broadway, it still affected I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I can't see a show. Like, it was a big deal. So what kept you guys inspired? You guys can answer in order. What kept you inspired when Broadway shut down? Like Broadway theater, everything. Couldn't even be in a theater.
Well, I found other things to do and other ways to present stories. And so I focused perhaps more on where I was usually performing at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, in various different variety shows or comedy or whatever. I was performing less that way, but then I started more Zoom shows, and I found myself connecting to people who I would not have connected to just based on being in person, And then I also got more involved in writing, and other activities. But I would say that I got more done, actually. I was more productive, prolific, whatever, during the pandemic. And I saw that as a period of time that was very special. I mean, it had some horror to it, people dying and sick and stuff, but it had it gave me the opportunity to reflect on what I really felt was important in life, and some of these basics that Dakota and Jeff were talking about, of family and of relationships and things like that. So that became pretty consuming, and in a good way. So I reached out during that pandemic. And then so finally, then I guess back in April or May, I started doing stand-up comedy again. Maybe a little bit earlier than perhaps I should have, but we were all masked. And I think it was the first day that New York City opened, I was on the stage again. So felt lucky. And I did have COVID in the early stages, and I got through that okay, with some resident fear and stuff that were being more cautious and careful as a result of that, and more appreciative of our health, and so life is good. I think of this as the grand awakening that we all have been through this period that's been very challenging, but now that we're through it, or hopefully through it, as Jeff had said, hopefully through it, and even if we're not through, even if there's a couple of setbacks, we as a nation, as a world, have gotten more unified, I believe, even though there's been some cases of not that, some issues like that. But I think overall, we've gotten more spiritual, more appreciative of each other, and what we all can do to help each other. I really think that has come about. So anyway, that's what I felt during the pandemic.
Okay, that's awesome. Dakota?
I mean, Jeff and I thought we better get in on this online theater before it's all over and no one cares anymore. So Jeff said, no, we have to do it in May, the play, because it's all going to be over and no one's going to care anymore. We're going to all be back. So that was May 2020. And since then, I think we've done 8 more virtual shows. I think it's caused us to get more creative and more innovative and dabble into more filming and editing and things like that. And honestly, there were many times when Jeff and I were all over the place with jobs and not having theater. I think there were many times where like our phone calls and our meetings with actors were like, wow, this really like made my week because this week sucked. So
Yeah.
Yeah, to piggyback, I lost my job during COVID, so yay, go team. So working so much on so many virtual things with Chill Bucket and growing new skills and developing those skills, and out of nowhere watching YouTube video tutorials and all of that. That's really what got me through, because it really sort of forced me to look at my relationship with theater, because I used to go see shows 2-3 times a week, you know what I mean? And then here, like, I couldn't bring myself for the first probably 6 months. I couldn't watch anything like that was streaming or anything like that because it was too raw for me. Like, I had just lost my job in theater. I hadn't been inside a theater for months, like it was too much for me to even like approach for the first 6 months of the shutdown. And so working virtually really sort of kept me going, which is cool, because now I've developed some new skills, and now here we are streaming this performance simultaneously while it's live. So good things, even though it's been a very, very rough year and a half.
Yeah, I don't think Zoom's going anywhere anytime soon, honestly. We've all learned new skills.
Nope.
We're having all kinds of parties on Zoom, all the pandemic. It's like never going back to the club again. That to me anyway, but really good answers. I really like that. I think definitely I haven't really heard those answers because I haven't been talking to theater people. So it's actually, I feel that. And then like, shout out to you guys for being here for real. Like, I don't just say that. A lot of people don't have that happiness in them. They're like, yeah, no, I don't do this. I don't know what life is about. So it's light that you guys are bringing into this space. So shout out to you guys. So one more I have for like the group, it's the community theater and like off Broadway kind of thing. So, we know it's like it costs money to put on productions and all that stuff, right? With all the level that you guys have, and you came from different worlds and then you kind of met each other, what do you think you're all bringing to this project? To it's an Italian thing, no, it's a Black thing in this space with the vaccine, like everything you guys just said, like what is it going to be for October 1st and 2nd?
Should I go first? By the way, I just want to add this about Zoom. Zoom is very effective, as Jeff and Dakota was saying too, and it's new skills. And when a friend of mine who was a priest that really influenced my life died about a year and a half ago, I put together, the family wasn't even ready to do a memorial or a Zoom memorial. I took it on myself, and we had about 30 people on that Zoom memorial. And the PS says, the live memorial just happened, a year and a half later, last weekend. And the people that I were at that live memorial up in Saratoga said to me how important and meaningful that Zoom was for them. So in addition to Zoom helping us entertain and be entertained, it's also sharing our hearts and souls with people and being there for them. And your question is what? This current question.
How does all your experiences working with each other, Jeff and Dakota from different worlds, how does all these things mushroom into what the audience is going to see on October 1st and 2nd? Everything you guys worked in.
This is the fourth play I've written. And I've written, many others. I was a columnist. I used to write essays all the time, and poetry. I've written about 300 poems and songs and stuff. So my basic stuff is as a writer. But about 10 years ago, I started performing, as I mentioned, in stand-up comedy. And I developed, I think, a comedic sense that is not coming across here in this conversation, maybe. She's funny, really? But anyway, I developed this comedy sense, and I could write it also. And so I combined my writing skill with my comedy and my love of being with people. And I found a love for the stage. And I'd say, I think that's what I really bring to it. Is combining those two. And
I got you. So in Hollywood, they would call you a sitcom writer.
Yes. Well, I'm hoping that I get hired as a sitcom writer to bring, it's an Italian thing, no, it's a Black thing, to TV. That's one of our goals.
Right. Yeah, and same for you guys at Show Bucket. I know you said you work together, but what are the, is the audience gonna feel any of that, or is it gonna still feel,
We actually, all three of us have met through a community theater production, Fran, Jeff, and I up in Westchester. And prior to that, Jeff and I had met through another project. And we crossed paths a bunch of times working either backstage or on the stage. And that's how we became really good friends and decided to even start working together and, fostering Chill Bucket into what it is today. So I think meeting through community theater and having all those bonds, and hopefully a bunch of our local supporters will come either streaming or coming down to New York City. But it is so exciting for us. This is our first show in New York City and back in person. So we're really thrilled to be back and doing this live.
Yes, I feel that in rehearsals. I really do, though.
I think that we're bringing sort of a more personalized experience to the stage with this show. We're going to have a pianist, Frank Pisani, playing some music as people walk in. We're going to have people streaming the show online. We have the talk back afterwards. I feel like the biggest difference between professional theater and community theater is that sort of lack of personal touches. You walk into professional theater, you have your ticket scanned, you get a drink at the bar that's ridiculously overpriced, you sit down, the show starts, maybe there's a pre-show announcement. community theater, you go, there's some crazy artistic director standing on the stage at the beginning, shouting about how wonderful everything is. At intermission, there's a bunch of volunteers serving baked goods. There's raffles. There's all these things, and I feel like that sort of atmosphere is not something that's seen in professional theater. And unfortunately, we're not bringing the volunteers with the baked goods because, COVID. But I think that that's something that we're really shooting for, is sort of bringing that personal feel into the room with the audience, whether they're streaming online or whether they're with us in person.
Yes, I love that.
I'd like to.
Go ahead, Fran.
Oh, I just like to add. Jeff said we're not bringing baked goods in. Volunteers on it, which is true. But there is an imagined discussion of a chocolate cake with chocolate icing that is so appetizing and delicious that it almost serves as well as if we had the real thing.
So are you saying you're bringing chocolate cake for everybody,
for
Fran?
for everybody.
Yeah, in their mind. So anyway.
I was gonna say, since it's like an entertainment site, I was saying you guys are it's like, do you guys see the Netflix show Schitt's Creek? You guys saw that one? So it's like, like you and Maura went back to the small town. It's like, that's
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's how you guys remind me of.
That
Well, me too.
episode is wildly accurate. That's not even an exaggeration of our
Right.
lives.
Actually, that was our life. Like, it's funny
Dakota,
though. And like I say, a lot of
actually-
people got that. Like, it's small town. It made you. That's why that show is like that, though. It's that everything you just said. That was what they were aiming for in that entire show, and they had Emmys. So
Right.
not bad.
Also,
Dakota
Resident
actually has
Alien.
wigs too.
That's funny.
Also, Resident Alien on Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, I saw
Small
the promo
town,
for that.
even though the person comes from another planet.
I'm gonna look into that. Okay, cool. So not to change gears a little bit, but there is a lot of heaviness in the world, though we've been trying to be up. We're performers and we're in the entertainment space to a degree. We try to keep things light, but we know that there is heaviness. What hopes do you guys have for like the audience? I'll go first because like I say, this is the first time I'm bringing people and I'm like, hey, I'm in a play and they're like, I'm definitely gonna see you. And I'm like, oh, like I'm trying to make people be impressed. Like, I want people like, whoa, like this is really good. I didn't think it was going to be this good. That's why in rehearsal, we won't give away too much, but I've been just saying the things that I've said because I really am trying to do good. And I can't say I felt like that, not on jobs or anything like that, in a long time. The pandemic took me out of caring about trying to impress people and whatever until this, So that's what it is going to be 100% for me. And what you think? Unmute.
I think that from the prior rehearsals before Chill Bucket's rehearsals, I was getting a pretty amazing response from people who were not connected to the story of what they felt from seeing it. And then when I shared the script with others, I was engaged in pretty deep conversations with people. And so I felt that whatever heaviness, because there are dramatic moments in this comedy, whatever heaviness there might be around us or within the story, it all comes from really a positive and enlightening and engaging feeling that comes from it. So I hope that my little thing in life, my little part in this, along with Dakota and Jeff, is bringing some light to the world, and it will lead to more and more, and it's contagious among people. And we know that from other plays and films and books and things like that. When they really move people, social change does happen, and personal change. So I'm encouraged.
All right, and you guys as director producers, what do you guys feel?
I think there's a lot of issues going on in the play in a small period of time. But like Fran said, it's also just a story where these things come up. And so often we're being preached at, and especially during this time, there's not only been this global pandemic, there's been a lot of injustices and examples of oppression with race and gender, and all these different things have come up. And I think, like I've said a couple of times with the cast, I think these things were going on, but we're just saying like, oh, where are everything's coming at us now. But I think we're just becoming more and more aware, and having that time, like Fran said, to kind of reflect this year. We are becoming more aware and thinking, oh, what are we doing in our lives? How is this, so all of these things are kind of positives. Even throughout the heaviness, we've had to deal with a lot of issues coming at us. And I think the play deals with them in a good way, where it sparks a conversation with people to kind of discuss, and also comes out with some joy at the end of it,
I hope that people it builds an awareness. We don't know what we don't know, and we can't experience what we don't experience. And theater is a way for people to experience things that they can't experience. And I think there's a lot of characters in this that people can see in their everyday lives. And I hope that they can take this either into their lives or, just into thought, and consider what someone else might be going through that they maybe have no clue about.
Right, 100%. I like that. So this is a good space for us to let you know tickets are on sale right now. You guys can go check it out is it chillbucketbp.com?
Chill BP, just
chillbp.com. We will tag it and all the stuff like I said, but you guys are listening, you're so inspired, you want to buy a ticket right now, we're not going to stop you. So we have a few more questions. This is just more directly to each of us. First one is for you. Well,
I have a question for you, T.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
You're playing the character of Tanasia. Frankie is my character, Frankie's girlfriend, and she goes through many emotions and challenges in this short story. So how did you prepare for the audition? You probably had one section,
Yeah,
that you used in your audition.
so I found it. Yep, I found it originally on Backstage. So I know a lot of people have been asking me, how did you find the casting and stuff? So Backstage is still there, even though things moved to Zoom. I think people thought that like the industry shut down for real. It's like we went online, so things are still there. I want to just make that note. You guys can still do this. Like it's there. There's opportunities, obviously. I saw that it was LGBTQ and like kind of like Black Lives Matter to a degree. So that hit like almost everything that I already I'm an activist for. I talk about it for free anyway. Like this is what I'm passionate about. The only thing I had to like really look up was like pansexual. I had no idea like what that meant. I never even really, So that's what I did. When I did the audition tape, I tried to think like I have a lot of gay friends. I have friends who are like lesbians, but at one point they had a kid, they were with a guy. I tried to be like one of them. Like I tried to maybe talk, because like, the way that they talk, it's like you're kind of boy and girl at the same time to a degree. Sometimes your tone-inch. So I thought like from that point of view. So that's what I did for real. I'm not kidding. They didn't know what pansexual was. And it was a little like, I don't know if I could do this. But you can, you just gotta do research.
And non-binary, right?
Non-binary, yep.
Non-binary with that.
Yeah.
And how did it feel to you when you tried on that person?
I mean, I've been telling people like, I feel like outside of the sexuality aspect of it, I feel like I am pansexual already. I'm just pan. I'm a humanitarian. People are like, I don't see color. I really don't. I don't judge people based on how you look to me, and that's like religious, educate, whatever it could be. You could be from wherever. People judge people. You come from the suburbs or you're from the city. It doesn't matter. I take people as how they are. So I just approach it from that point of view. Yeah, that's really how so I got that part of it. It's not acting. Yeah. So, and it's why I like the character and been telling people about it, because it really does resonate. I think there are a lot of teenagers in the world. There are.
Yeah.
So, yep.
You're doing a very, very good job.
Thank you. We'll see. October 1st.
Yeah, T, part of what we loved about your audition was that it was just like you're saying, like very natural. And most of the times when you get to play characters, or characters that you'll be cast as, is stuff that you kind of resonate with or feel. So yeah, it was an easy choice for us.
Thank you guys.
Another easy choice was Fran. When Fran approached us with the script, we were wondering too if she would like to play, the lead character, or if we were going to have to cast someone completely different. And I mean, we were really thrilled that she also wanted to be in it because, Fran, you add a ton of depth to the character, having a lot of backstory. So where does the character of Frankie come from? Is it a lot of your own experiences and your own life?
Well, in my adult life, I didn't have a relationship with an African-American girl, but when I was in 9th grade, I did. It was short-lived. and unfortunately, I found out about 4 years ago by a mutual friend who was my friend in 9th grade and saw this going on. Me at that time, very few Italian-American boys would go out with a Black girl. It just was, unheard of. But I did. And this other friend saw that and sort of wished that she was in. But anyway, she told me that that person passed away. So I always hoped that I would one day see her again, So although she would be now my age, and much older than you are, this was sort of a way that I kind of presenced her again in my life. My old girlfriend was not a long-term relationship, but I've also, although I've been married and have had a relationship with my wife, I don't have that romantic relationship anymore. We don't live together. We're still soulmates. We talk every other day. And I still like a relationship with an individual, with a person, and a romantic one. So in my fantasy, I'm more pansexual now than anything. And the pan for me includes really every color, every race, probably sticking just to the Homo sapien species. I want to stay within that species, and not go too far afoot from that. But within that, anything, age, everything is up. I just got back from an artist meeting, and there was a man who was disabled, and he was in a wheelchair, and he was with his wife. And I saw the love that those two people had for one another, that despite his disability, she still had love for him. And that's the way I'm kind of seeing myself in this part of my life, is to be more open to all kinds of people. But it wasn't really fully autobiographical. It's not present day. But maybe as a result of this play, I'm going to have a
Inspired by
Tanasia.
true events.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. All good. No, that sounds great.
She'd have me.
All right. I got a question for Jeff. So New York City, we talked about Broadway, talked about you not even being able to watch stuff for 6 months because the pandemic kind of just took you out the whole space. How long, the theater that we are going to be in is the Episcopal Actors Guild. What's your background with them? Maybe you could tell us more about what other things they do before, why did you guys pick this theater essentially?
So we were actually introduced to the Episcopal Actors Guild through Fran. Fran is a member. And what's cool about the Guild is they are they are a resource for actors in need. So they have a food service where actors can come and get food if they need. And they also connect actors with different resources throughout the city. Because we all know that acting is a job that isn't full-time all the time. It's not a 9 to 5. It might be a 9 to 5 for 6 months or a year or, whatever. But there's those periods of no work, and the Episcopal Actors Guild really works to help actors through those periods, which is amazing. They've been around almost 100 years, which is super cool to have been around in New York City for almost 100 years. And their space, Guild Hall, is just above a church on 29th Street. And it's a small space, so about 50 people in the audience, and there's a stage, and it's a really intimate space, which I think is a good place for this story. And when Fran mentioned it, and I went online and looked at it, I think this is the place where this story needs to sort of have its introduction to the world at large. And so I think it's gonna be great.
Wow, that's really powerful. I didn't even know that. I hope maybe we can get some of their resources listed in the story too, so people can know that they have the actors' resources, because that's really powerful.
I'd like to add a couple of things.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'd like to add a couple of things to what Jeff said. I which was all true. I've been a member for about 3 or 4 years. I've seen some performances there. There are about 700 members, and in addition to the food pantry and being a resource and connecting with other organizations that are resources, they actually do give money away, financial aid. There is an endowment. Money is raised through various different means, through donations and stuff, and gifts, bequests. But they also, if you're an actor or you know of an actor who is in need, a financial need, you can put in an application. You have to demonstrate that you were or recently been a full-time actor, in the industry and stuff. But they have a proven track record of helping people in need all the way back over this, 100-year period of time. And another thing about the Episcopal Actors Guild, it's non-sectarian. In fact, you don't even it doesn't care about your faith or lack thereof. You can even be an atheist and be affiliated with the organization. So the organization came out for loving or doing a PSA for Black Lives Matter because it's in their heart to respect all kinds of people. And I was involved in that PSA about a year ago, and they have a group called Sustainable Conversations, which I'm part of, on about race and stuff. So they really do speak the DEI message of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it fits perfectly to this play, what the message of this play is too. So really overjoyed of doing it. The premiere of it is there.
I mean, yeah, that's powerful.
It can't be better.
About Lin-Manuel Miranda, we're trying to get, like everyone last year, we're trying to find, and that's that they're at the top level, right? Hamilton, we're trying to find people so imagine you guys saying it at the lower level already, which I felt like everyone was working. So I don't know why certain actors are, but this is the life that we live. So yeah, this is powerful stuff. We're definitely going to add more information into the post as well, into the podcast notes. So yeah, we got one more question, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yes, this is my question. Haha. Dakota. So for I don't know if Fran or Tahir, I don't know if you guys know this. Dakota and actually I dated for like a minute. Literally a minute. But what, Dakota is now Dakota, you are now happily living with your girlfriend. And how do you think living with a woman has influenced your direction of these characters?
See, Jeff and I try to keep it very professional. We usually never bring that up. No, it's really funny though, because it's a perfect example too of when you meet someone and you just know, like, we're supposed to be in each other's lives, but we really weren't quite sure how that was gonna happen. And this company honestly gave us the right direction that we really needed. I think we've grown closer and closer by working together. I think Jeff was one of the first people that I told. We were casting a show in person, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna go on a date with this girl." So Jeff has become my confidant, which is crazy. And we call my girlfriend the consultant all the time when we need advice on shows. We actually have been together now for 2 years, and it's been quite a roller coaster experience. I think we touch a lot about DEI aspects in the show, of there being race issues, right? But the other part of the show, there's Blacks and there's Italians, and all of us who are in the show who are not Black are actually Italian. So it's very authentic. And I think we've all, as Italian Americans, probably had slightly different experiences, but it was quite hard coming for my family, coming to terms with some of this. So I think theater and this show and shows like this are a way to help constantly educate, constantly make things feel more approachable and more relatable. Because like Jeff said, for me, this has been a really great experience too, because it's just a story involving LGBT community, involving people of different races, and we're all just living, So for me to be able to direct this, it was a really big challenge because it dealt with a lot of issues, and it made me have to come to terms with a lot of issues, like Fran's been talking about things. How do I think about things? What's normal for me? What's normal for other people? So it's been a really fulfilling experience for me too, as a person, besides being a director. But the cast has been so thoughtful and so loving and gracious, and puts up with my crazy antics.
She's actually a really good director.
Thank you. We've been having a great time so far. We've been having a great time on Zoom so far, so I'm very excited to get all of us in person on Tuesday.
Yeah, no, 100%. You actually reminded me just now of like Billy Porter. He said he had an interview with like one of those actors on Actors. He was talking about like the last season of Pose. Obviously, he was on Pose, and their character were like brimming up to the end, so they really had to like. And he said there's a part where he talks. He's like, I told the camera people like the first 2 seasons you were getting 5 takes of all these things, but like this one, because it was like really hitting his own. He came out with saying that he had AIDS after the show wrapped. So just imagine, like, you're playing a character that has AIDS. The world doesn't even know that, it's like, whoo, it's crazy. So you're just saying that, you just kind of reminded me of when he said that. And it's like, yeah, it's so real for people. People watching on TV, you're playing a character or while on the stage, and it's like, I'm actually a human being, though, and these are real words coming out of my mouth or emotions, you know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, thank you guys so much for your time today. I don't know if anybody has final words. We have a couple more minutes. I don't like to keep it recording for too long because, but anything else you guys want to mention, maybe your Instagrams or anything like that, promotional stuff?
Who I'll go first. Chill Bucket. You can follow us on Instagram. It's just Chill Bucket. We're on Facebook. We have a YouTube channel. And then the website, again, for tickets is www.chillbp.com. And we are in person and streaming October 1st and 2nd at 8 p.m.
Woohoo! You guys can follow me, Tahira, Savannah, my actor kind of pages, my personal one, not the red eye that you guys know. It's I Let the Good Times Roll. I've been I had a music video I put out. I was pushing that, but this week it's going to be the link for the tickets are going to be in my bio. I believe Dakota told us last week that she's going to put out some clips for us, like in rehearsal. We're actually going on the stage this week to practice and for the show. So we'll have more stuff to come out. So definitely follow me. Who's next?
Should I go? Is Francisco, Sisco. I use Facebook more than Instant Messenger. And if you put in Francis, Francis, and then Sisco, you'll probably wonder where I got all the time to put up thousands of posts on Facebook. But you can find out more about me on Facebook. My website, which is, anyway, I'm not going to judge it. It's www.trans, Trans, Fran, Fran, Cisco, Sisco.com. So Trans Francisco sounds like the San Francisco treat, right? San Francisco.
Actually,
Yeah, I prefer the pronoun she, her. However, I'm leaning more toward really recommending people use proper nouns rather than pronouns. Use the name. So if you're talking about somebody, instead of saying he or she, say their name, their first name, you know? And we're doing a Q&A, as Dakota and Jeff both know. Jeff, I think, is hosting the Q&A. And for people who stream live, and we didn't talk about this yet, Jeff, but people who stream live, and obviously because it's the computer and stuff. Right, so anyone who's streaming live, know that you could ask your questions and stuff. So we're going to have that also. It's going to be very, very entertaining. You're going to have a great time. Please come to the play.
All right. Any last words, Director?
No, thank you so much, Steve, for doing this. We had such a good time.
Yes, this was definitely fun. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You're listening to News in Progress, the Red Eye Media Group. I'm Tahira, and we are out.